Welcome to The Explainer. Today, we're diving into the European Union's game-changing plan to regulate artificial intelligence. It's called the AI Act, and it's the first major rulebook of its kind anywhere in the world. You know, as AI gets more and more powerful, as it weaves itself into pretty much everything we do, this really crucial question pops up. Who's actually in charge here? Who's setting the rules to make sure this tech is safe and works for all of us? Well, the European Union has decided to step up and give it a shot. They've created the world's first comprehensive legal framework that's built from the ground up just to govern AI systems. And if you look at the official goal of the Act, it's all about trying to find that perfect balance. On one hand, they want to encourage innovative, trustworthy AI. But on the other, they want to build some serious guardrails to protect our health, our safety, and our fundamental human rights. Okay, so how does this whole thing actually work? Well, the entire regulation is built on one really powerful idea, a risk-based approach. And the best way to picture it is as a pyramid with 4 different levels of risk, where each level has its own set of rules. Right at the very top of that pyramid, you've got AI practices that the EU considers just an unacceptable threat to our rights. These aren't just regulated, they are completely, totally banned. So what kind of stuff are we talking about here? Well, things like government-run social scoring systems that rank citizens, or creating massive facial recognition databases by just scraping images off the internet and from CCTV footage. Yeah, that's out. So is using AI to figure out people's emotions at work or in school. The EU basically drew a line in the sand. Okay, let's move one level down. This is the high-risk category. Now, these systems aren't banned, but this is where the really strict rules and constant oversight kick in. To be honest, this is what most of the Act is all about. Go down another step and we get to systems with limited risk. The keyword for this level is transparency. The whole point of the rules here is to make sure you always know when you're interacting with an AI and not a person. And finally, at the huge base of the pyramid, you have minimal risk. This covers almost all of the AI out there. Think about things like your email spam filter or the AI in a video game. For the most part, the Act leaves these systems alone to let innovation happen. All right, let's zoom in on that critical high-risk category, because this is where the Act is really going to have its biggest impact. So where do you find these high-risk systems? Well, think about the most sensitive areas of life. We're talking about AI used for biometric identification, or AI that decides who gets into a university, who gets hired for a job, or who gets approved for a loan. It also covers critical stuff in law enforcement and the justice system. And the reason they're classified this way is so important. The Act recognizes that a buggy algorithm in one of these areas isn't just a technical glitch. It can literally change the entire course of someone's life and their ability to make a living. Because the stakes are just so high, developers have to follow a super strict checklist. They have to use high-quality training data that actually represents the population, which is huge for preventing bias. They also have to build in strong human oversight so a person can always step in. And of course, they have to make sure the system is safe from cyber attacks. So this is all great, but what does it actually mean for you? Well, this new rulebook isn't just for tech developers. It creates a whole new set of rights for every single citizen. The Act gives you a fundamental right to transparency. That means you have to be clearly told if you're talking to a chatbot, and any AI-generated deepfake audio or video has to be labeled. No more trying to figure it out on your own. And the protections go even further. Here's the big one. If a high-risk AI system makes a decision that negatively affects you, like say it denies your loan application, you now have the right to demand an explanation. You also have the right to file a complaint, and institutions like banks have to assess the impact on our rights before they even roll out one of these systems. Now, you might be thinking this is just a European story, but this is where it gets really interesting. A law passed in Brussels is about to have a massive impact on tech companies all over the world, from Silicon Valley to Shanghai. And it's all thanks to something called the Brussels effect. We saw this happen with their big data privacy law, GDPR. Basically, the rule is, if your AI system is used inside the European Union, you have to follow the EU's rules. It doesn't matter where your company is based. So if you want to sell to that huge EU market, you got to play by their rules. And let me tell you, this regulation has some serious teeth. The penalties for breaking the rules are steep. We're talking up to 35 million euros, or, and this is the one that gets everyone's attention, as high as 7% of a company's total global turnover from the year before. Yeah, that's a big number. Now, this isn't all happening at once. The act is being rolled out in phases. It officially went into force in the summer of 2024, but the first major rules, that ban on prohibited AI, will kick in at the start of 2025. The full set of rules will be up and running by August of 2026. Which, of course, leaves us with the big question. By moving first and setting such a high bar, has the European Union created the global gold standard for trustworthy AI that other countries are going to follow? Or has it created a complex maze of regulations that might end up slowing down innovation? I guess we'll have to wait and see.